All right, welcome to the next episode of the Courtside Conference Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Stroud. Joining me today is the boss man, Derrick. What's good, bro?
What's good, bro? How you been?
I'm straight. How about you?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. We're in the East Conference Finals now for the third time in 4 years. So I'm
third
happy,
youngest
man.
team, third youngest team ever.
Yeah.
Second youngest team ever was also us.
Hey, man.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in the Thunder from 2011.
Yeah. And imagine that was what Jason Tatum was 20 at that time? 19 going on 20? Something like that?
Just turning 20.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
life
turning
is
20.
good, man.
Jalen just 21.
Yeah. Life is good. And Smart, I think Smart he was like around 23, something like that.
About 23.
23, 24, something like that. So, I mean, we
Going
good,
on,
man.
Last year, his rookie deal. It seemed like so long ago. It was only like 2 years ago.
I know, right? It feels like he's been on the team for a very long time at this point. And I don't know why it feels like that, but it's only been 4 or 5 years?
This is year 6, I think.
6.
He got drafted like
14. That's
right.
He got
drafted like right after I graduated high school.
That's right, man. And then imagine James Young. We really had no team at that time outside of Marcus Smart. That was
Smart, Kelly, and Sullinger and Jeff Green.
We've come a long way, man.
We don't get there though.
Oh yeah.
It's been hard to get in here to record lately. So I've been so caught up watching the games like the last month or so.
Yeah, man. Yeah. How you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
I'm having fun.
Yeah, man. Look, I think that's one thing that there's a lot of people that I know you've seen it on Twitter as well. A lot of people coming at Celtics like, like something like there's some reason to actually go at them. Young team, right. They're a good team. They're a really good team, and we're only getting better. We're still waiting for Gordon Hayward to come back. I'm happy.
He's upgraded to doubtful for tomorrow.
Yeah. So
my prediction is that he's back by either game 3 or 4.
I'm thinking 3 or 4 as well. I'm confident, bro. And then you let him come off the bench.
Yeah, let him come off the bench.
We don't need him to start. Yeah, we don't need him to start. He'll come off the. He could be a starter in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. As long as he get there. But let's start from the end. With the class that we in, the conference finals. Outside of us, what's been your favorite series so far?
Man,
besides our 2 series.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just go ahead and say Denver, Utah. That was a battle. That was a battle.
I didn't expect those guys to go on that. I didn't expect that one. I didn't expect Murray to take the leap out of nowhere like that.
I didn't either. I think I was still kind of thinking that it was going to be another year for them to be able to get to the Western Conference Finals. Let Michael Porter, take another year to take that step. And
yeah, so he just started playing in the bubble. So
yeah. And I didn't expect them to do that. I wasn't sleeping on them. Denver was my sleeper team in the West, but I didn't expect them to do this. It's quite honestly my prediction. My prediction at the beginning of the season was Clippers Celtics in the finals. That was my prediction, and I've hung on to it. I did switch at the beginning of the bubble to the Lakers, but I said let me not switch it and just stick with the Clippers. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
The Clippers Clippers disappointed me the whole way. I saw like their first game against Dallas, and they was putting away that they didn't look really the part.
You know what kind of told me that this was gonna likely happen? That it took them 7 games to do that to Dallas.
Yeah, it was 6. Not 7.
6. My bad. Yeah, but it shouldn't have taken that.
No, so I was like, they got the best wing defenders to shut down Luka.
Yeah,
not really worried about Porzingis, their role players.
And Porzingis was out. Like you said,
exactly. The first game, he got ejected like 5 minutes in. The Mavericks still almost won that one. Game 2, they won.
Yeah.
Games 3 and 4, Luka was going crazy.
Yeah, after an ankle
He got
injury.
hurt. No, he got hurt game 3.
Yeah.
And then game 4, he went berserk.
Yeah. I didn't expect that. And then when I saw that the Mavericks pushed them that way, I was like, oh, Denver.
Yeah, and they had to make Kawhi. They had to make Kawhi turn it on, like go into like finals mode early.
Man, that made no sense. I think when I saw that, I figured Denver was gonna have a shot at least. And someone was telling me, no, they're gonna get swept. I said, nah, this is not Sacramento. Like, let's not treat Denver like they can't do anything. They are a dangerous team. And Will Barton isn't even back yet, is he?
No, not yet. And Gary Harris just got back.
Harris just got back. They're dangerous, man. They're dangerous. Yeah. I'm not sleeping on them.
I'm not either. My most disappointing so far is the Lakers and Rockets. I thought they would at least go to 6 or 7.
Man. So when at the trade deadline, when before the trade deadline, when they got rid of Capella and they embraced that small ball lineup,
yeah,
I knew they were dead. But because when you think about playoffs, you play the playoffs differently than you do regular season. Those are two different types of games.
You play at a much slower pace more often,
right? And to think you can do that without a big, because if you have PJ Tucker down there at the 5, AD is going to punish him. Jokic will punish him. I mean, Rudy Gobert will even punish him. Like it's not fair. It's not a fair fight. You know, you put yourself at a disadvantage when you do that. They shouldn't have gone that long with OKC.
Exactly. So they almost tripped that one away. Harden had a horrible game 7.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. I was glad that went the distance.
It was interesting, but you know what annoyed me about that series?
What?
Because he blocked Diallo on that last shot. Everybody's like, "Oh, I thought Harden couldn't play defense."
As he thought about the worst game of his life.
Come on, man. My thing was about that, like, okay, he can play defense. He can play it. He just doesn't play it.
And with the game on the line, I would expect. Well, no, with the season on the line.
Yeah, I expect you to do that. Yeah, so
while you're out there getting, like some guy named Lou Dort is out there just having a game.
Right. Oh, it was Dort, not Diallo. My bad. But that just that made no sense. And even with that, like, I'm glad D'Antoni is not coming back next season.
Nah, he ran his course.
He wasn't gonna.
He was good for work. Yeah, his window was the first year with Chris Paul. That was their best team.
That was their best. Yeah.
And then when they came back last season with Chris Paul, Hobwood, and they trade him for Russ, and it's like then they do the whole small ball, and it's like it's there.
They pretty much signed their playoff death when they got rid of Capella. Made no sense.
But the way they came out game 1, like blowing the Lakers out, I at least figured they take at least one more game off. But instead they kind of quit on them after maybe after like late game 3.
Yeah. It the team doesn't work. I think so. Do you think that they should just blow this up or just get a new coach and see what works?
I have no idea at this point, honestly.
Yeah, it's very weird because I don't know.
They can't. They're not in position. Their most tradable player is their best player, so that's kind of like you're not getting much for Russ at this point.
Not at all.
Harden is
and the contract is pretty much immovable.
Exactly. Covington has a good deal, but again, you're not really getting but so much for him and Tucker.
Yeah.
And Eric Gordon, he's kind of like on trending downward too. So.
Yeah, he is. I don't know because I think their best bet right now is to get a big. But guess what? At this point, to do that, you're basically gonna have to embrace a restart. You have to, because what other option are you gonna have? Like you said, these guys that they have they could trade. No one's trading for those guys.
Exactly. And this not
No
the this they're
contenders
not the
doing that.
and they're not a young team. I think Harden just turned 31 not too long ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
just turned 31. He's about to turn 31. So it's 1-2.
Okay. Yeah. It's time to
Harden's
rebuild.
31. Russ is 30. I'm pretty sure PJ Tucker is in his 30 somewhere.
He gotta be 35, 34, 35.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
this was what, year 7 of Harden. So you're going through every single thing you can do at this point.
Right. I don't know. There's not one person that unless Jesus is going to coach this team, I don't see anyone that can actually coach this team to a championship. As currently constructed, it's not going to work. It doesn't work.
No.
Kobe Bryant said this.
Yeah, Kobe did say he said the one man show ain't winning.
This is not how you win a championship. And then when you double down on that and get rid of the bigs, all right, well.
Yeah, and then you go super small, and then Russ comes in out of rhythm at that. So
yeah. I don't know, man. It is time for them to rebuild. They were disappointing, but I mean they kind of expected it. Like there's nothing new with this team. There's nothing new with this team. There's nothing new with the Clippers. This is just how they are. It's how they are.
I'm saving the Clippers for in a little bit. We're gonna get to the Bucks first.
Oh yeah, please. Let's go.
We gotta get to the Bucks real quick. So what do you think they're gonna do though? So what's their next plan of action? You had not Harden. Giannis is about to be the 2-time MVP. Just won Defensive Player of the Year. His next best players are Middleton and Bledsoe. And Bledsoe is just an awful player when playoffs come around.
We've seen it time and time again.
For the last 3 years since he got there.
Every single time.
Every time.
Every single time. It's nothing new. Every year they think is going to be different in the playoffs that year.
And this is Giannis' second straight year running into a team designed to just shut him down.
Yeah. I mean, that's the weird thing too, because think about if we were matched up with Milwaukee.
Yeah, they would have had a much easier time if they ran us in round 2. I think we tried to won, but I'm saying from a matchup standpoint, we didn't have the bodies to build the wall unless we do something like Grant and Tice or something. But I don't know.
Well, and Ojale and Grant, those guys would have clamped down. Yeah. I think that. Go ahead.
But like I said, last year they faced the Raptors, who can throw Kawhi, Siakam, Ibaka, Gasol, these big physical guys, and their guards are a little scrappy too, so they don't mind taking the bump from him.
Van Vliet.
And then you run into the Heat this year, who were legit design. Bam is a big dude. Then they traded for Iggy and Crowder mid-season. Mm-hmm. And they're just real smart defenders in general. So that's kind of now the formula to stop them.
Right.
And then you throw in his Eric Bledsoe or Brook Lopez, who's not really gonna contribute high enough to pick up his slack. Middleton isn't really that elite guy to pick up his slack heavy.
Nah, he needs.
You have a coach who doesn't. Exactly. You have a coach who didn't make any adjustments. Who just kept Giannis running slam into the wall every game.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. I keep saying this. Giannis, everyone keeps talking about him needing to really shoot the three consistently. I don't think that's going to be the thing that takes his game to the next level.
He's not going to get that overnight either.
He won't. That's going to take, and you see that Ben Simmons hasn't even really gotten a good shot.
Exactly. So he's not going to walk into next season or the season after.
Yeah.
All of a sudden a respectable shooter. So.
Yeah. And to see, look, it took Marcus Smart, 4 years before he could actually shoot without me clutching my shirt and everything. Oh my God, this dude, he stressed me out.
Respect you out there.
Yeah, now they have to respect him, but it's taken a few years for him to do that. Giannis has to develop handles.
He has to develop handles. He has to develop real footwork. I think he has to play a bit smarter.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think at times you can see when they're playing him that physical and not really biting and letting him drive in. I think you can see he gets a little frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they play into it, then he starts forcing the issue and turning the ball over, picking up offensive fouls.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I love when that happens. I think
Yeah,
that
and just killing their offense altogether when he just does that.
Yeah, and you have guys standing on the perimeter. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. It doesn't work. If he developed those handles, if he at least developed handles like AD, he'd be much better. Much better. He'd be able to work off the pick and roll and everything. He'd be able to be a very unstoppable player. He'd be
Definitely.
a very, very dominant player if he at least just developed handles and had a semi shot. Like, those are the only things that I think really would take his level up. But Middleton can't be your number two. Middleton has to be your number three. Like, that's a perfect role for him. But to be your number two guy, that does not work. That does not work because he can't take over like that.
He can't. And you saw the game, game 5 when Giannis was out, and they had every single chance to take the lead. Yeah. I think it was like maybe a 3-minute stretch in the late third quarter where the Heat were ice cold.
Yeah.
And they got to it at one point, but just could not score. And Middleton was like missing everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they let the Heat hang around long enough to where they then caught fire again and went on another run.
Right, right. I selfishly was actually hoping Milwaukee would force that to a 7, game 7. Because I just wanted them to get worn down just a little bit more before we faced them. But I mean, look, man, Milwaukee,
and they're kind of at a standstill. And another thing,
they are.
And I think Giannis he either has to develop the handles in the post work and or he has to just commit to playing center full time.
Yeah,
and
if he was a center, that'd be different.
Completely.
Yeah, if he was a center, that'd be different.
If he's not starting his possessions on the perimeter and trying to go off the dribble, then that's what they need to commit to full time and just throw him down there.
For sure.
And go like 4 outward shooters.
If, let's say, for example, they traded for Devin Booker.
Dynamic changes right there.
It does. If you had Devin Booker running with Giannis and you had Middleton as your third guy, and then you just fill out the bench. Like, you really don't need too much. I just think they're kind of like overthinking this.
Definitely.
I think they're overthinking it.
If you do something like that, like trade for Booker, then in the way he kind of becomes the lead scorer.
Yeah,
even though Giannis needs to be. Giannis will probably still be the leading scorer just because he gets his point much easier. But Booker is like the go-to scorer.
Yeah, and it will clear the path for Giannis.
Exactly. You have another guy who can shoot, go off the dribble, demand a double team, triple team when he's high.
Yeah,
just pulling up from 40, so down the floor is super space.
Yeah. I don't know what the trade would look like, but if they could pull that off, that would be formidable, very formidable.
Definitely him or Brad Beal, something like that.
Yeah, that's another guy. Yeah, for sure.
There were floating rumors about Chris Paul getting traded there, or the Bucks pursuing him, but I think he might be. Yeah.
He's a little, not that he couldn't do it, but he's a little too old for what Giannis needs.
Chris Paul maybe like 3 years ago with Giannis or something would have been a perfect fit, but now he's like visibly a little step slower.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be a good 3 guy. That would be interesting if that were to happen, but I mean, I don't see that.
You give him and swap Bledsoe out, then you have somebody who's actually reliable, keep making the right plays, and just not make heavy mistakes all game, which itself is like a huge plus for them. Right.
I think ultimately Giannis will stay in Milwaukee because he strikes me as that kind of guy that's just not gonna, move. He keeps posting his hashtag of, through the wall or something like that. Cool. I think he's going to. Excuse me. I think he's going to, but it'd be intriguing to see if he were to leave where he would go. I don't think he
Yeah.
will leave, but it'd be intriguing. Everyone keeps talking about Golden State. I don't know
Golden
that I
State,
really see that.
Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. I think even Miami as well.
Yeah.
Um, I really don't see either one of those teams unless Toronto were to move some pieces to get him in there. But I don't see
Mm-hmm.
what the purpose would be for that. They have a really good team. They have a
They
really good
do.
team. I wouldn't mess with that. I mean, you
Exactly. But
move maybe like a piece or two, but I wouldn't. The
yeah.
nucleus
But
of what
that
they
thing is
have is good.
I think Lowry's on contract up next season too, and he was be 35. So I think retirement could be in play for him. And
Probably.
Van Vliet is a free agent this deal. I mean this coming free agent period.
Oh, he's going to get a
He's gonna
lot
get
of money.
paid.
Yeah,
He deserves it too.
he deserves it. He deserves to get paid. That boy's been balling out. And to be honest, I think we should put some more respect. This makes me respect them even more. Now that the Clippers are bounced out, this actually makes me respect that team last year. Respect them a little more because it's not like Kawhi was doing all the work and they were sitting back doing nothing.
Those guys work.
Those guys work. They did, and Van Vliet, Lowry, they all those guys, Siakam, they all stepped up.
And that was already the only thing keeping them from a finals berth previously was LeBron anyway, for the most part.
LeBron and DeRozan.
And DeRozan. So then you swap DeRozan with the missing piece, and then like I said, Kawhi load managed the whole season.
Yeah.
And they probably only lost like 5 or 6, 7, 8 games, something like that without him.
Yeah. Yeah. They were really good. They were really good without Lowry. Yeah, which makes you think like if they had traded Lowry to Philly, what was that, like 2 or 3 years ago that was a discussion?
Mm-hmm.
If he had gone there and you kept DeRozan there, this team.
Oh, nah.
They would have been trash. They'd have been trash, man. I think I think this speaks more to DeRozan's ability to command an offense and
his shortcomings as a player.
Yeah. I hate saying that, but because I like DeRozan, but that speaks a lot to his inability to be the guy, especially what we're seeing in San Antonio as well.
He's not the guy. You can be as talented as you want, but you have to be like the guy that they look to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tweeted about like last night I was like tweeting and I was talking about like leaders and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like a guy like Steph has just like a presence to him that his teammates like gravitate to.
Right.
And if you don't have that, then you can't really be the guy like that. Like Lowry at this point has that in his career.
For sure. And that speaks volumes to who you have on that team and how you're able to win.
Exactly.
I think that even if DeRozan, let's say somehow he was traded to Milwaukee or something like that, I don't see that really working out for them either.
He's not.
I think he's going to end up staying in San Antonio because where's he going to go? Unless someone can really let's say someone in that front office can really force a trade and really spruce it up. I don't see him actually leaving there. I could see LaMarcus Aldridge leaving before DeRozan.
Yeah, Aldridge like maybe like what 4 years older than him too, like 3 or 4 years older.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be a nice bench player somewhere.
Yeah.
Limited minutes.
He's no ring chase for the last like few years of his career.
Yeah.
But speaking of Lowry, I think our series made me like earn like a lot more respect for him too. That dude was making like hitting some crazy like shots like that. I've never seen him hit like at any other point in his career.
I respect him and what he's able to do, especially with his size. Definitely. I hate watching him.
Absolutely.
I hate watching him.
He's a complainer too.
That dude has never fouled anyone in his life. Ever. He's never fouled anyone. Even if he were to clothesline someone on the court, you'd be saying, what?
He's done the fourth review, man. Like, come on, yo.
Yeah.
That series finally made me question, how many reviews are you allowed per game? Because the Raptors were pushing, the limits of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get the coaches challenge, and they use both of those every game.
Yeah.
And then they had, 6 or 7 more other reviews, every game. So I'm just like, yo.
Yeah, man. Lowry, I like him. I like him. He's one hell of a player. I can't stand watching him against the Celtics. If it's some other team, cool. I just can't stand him against the Celtics because I'm invested into the Celtics, and I don't want to see you get these egregious foul calls every game.
And then you go review the already egregious calls and get a flagrant and make them even more worse than what you already got.
I every single time he would even go near someone, it's automatic.
That's automatic.
Automatic foul. And poor Tice.
Game 3 when Timber got irritated and looked at him.
Bro, that was the funniest thing. Because it was stupid. It just made no sense. The fouls he was actually getting. It wasn't even like he was just they would call it and they'd be like, nah, let's overturn that. He was actually getting those calls.
They were standing, bro. Come on.
And then Tony Brothers,
Tony Brothers is the worst.
Game 6, bro.
Yo, Game 6 might be one of the most inconsistent games called I've ever seen.
It might be. It might be because I've never seen that before.
That 6-point play they got where Fred got fouled on the 3 plus the flagrant.
Yeah.
Then just the ball back and makes another 3.
I didn't even and that was wild. That's what really shifted momentum their way that
exactly. That and then later on the game, somebody undercut Smart shooting a 3, and he got no call at all.
None.
And then you remember the Tatum elbow on OG when he's just playing and trying to drive in.
Yeah.
And then the very next play, Siakam hit Tatum with the elbow. He got an and-1.
Yeah. It was such a roller coaster of calls that I questioned what fouls were.
Bro.
I questioned it because I'm like, I don't understand. I'm a diehard basketball fan, okay? I don't know what a foul is anymore. I truly don't.
I don't know what a flagrant is anymore either.
Flagrant is even worse because it makes no sense. You can just touch someone on the forehead and all of a sudden go to the foul.
Bro. Exactly. And then sometimes guys get legit pushed and it's no call.
No call. Because we saw that Game 6. Kimba got pushed midair.
Yeah.
On that layup. And there's no call.
And then they say things like, regardless of intent, it's a flagrant. But at the same time, there's on the game, our first game in the bubble against the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
But they said Giannis hitting Tice wasn't a foul because there was no intent there. So it's which one is it?
I don't know how you judge intent anymore. How do you even do that? Because these calls make no sense.
They don't make any sense.
They really don't. I would love if the NBA figured out some way they could actually bring in some guys that Scott Foster. As much as when we play, and he's calling some weird calls, but for the most part, he's somewhat impartial. Impartial. I felt comfortable with him in Game 7.
Is that he's not a from start to go blowing BS kind of brothers and some of the other guys.
Yeah.
But when he does blow,
yeah,
every so often, it's just super questionable. But you can play through it.
Though. I'm willing to live with his calls over a lot of these other guys. And for example, beginning of the season when Kimba got tossed out the game by that young referee. For what?
Exactly.
For what? That made no sense. These guys have to do better.
The NBA kind of has developed an officiating problem over the course of this, not even just in the past 2 or 3 seasons. I bet. I like to say.
I think
to the point where if the refs the refs are getting emotional and like inserting themselves in the part of the game.
Yeah.
Like,
They're deciding
they
the outcome way too much now.
exactly. Like you can't give techs for guys looking at you or throwing their arms up like late in close emotional like playoff games.
Yeah, they're making Joey Crawford actually look a saint.
Like I said, the Tatum elbow, the accidental elbow, he's driving in the OG. You can't call a tackle on that late in the game.
No.
That's a regular basketball play. He just happened to have his like face in the wrong.
And I'm not sure that Joey Crawford would have called that. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know because these guys make him look so good. They make it. I'm really questioning. Like okay, the you know when 3-point shooters go up and they can draw the contact and get a foul for a 4-point play.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times, especially in the bubble, I've been seeing a lot of times where these guys have gone up. They've been hit, or they've not been hit, I should say, not even touched, and they're still calling that a foul.
Especially they come down and the guy's foot just happens, like it's accidentally right there. It's automatically a foul.
Yeah, what pisses me off is like I think Van Vliet got that call in the last series.
That was the call that shifted the game.
Yeah, but see the thing about it is he kicked his foot out into the defender space. Like there has to be a balance because I think that's going to be something that I think they need to look at in the rule book for this next season. When the offensive player goes into the defender's space, that shouldn't be a foul. Now, when the defender goes into their space, that's different.
And they've already banned the leg kick to draw that. So
but Van Vliet still kicked it out and it was perfectly fine.
And when some guys naturally shoot, they could start at point A, but their momentum might just drift them forward. Like the Middleton, the Dragic foul for that 3, was it game 2?
Yeah.
Dragic was like had a lot of space on him, but Middleton shooting for him, he shoots forward so that his body naturally drifted forward.
Right.
And that's what the foul occurred when he was coming down.
Right.
And Dragic just standing perfectly still, vertical the whole time.
Right.
So it's like you have to get, because if not, then you can't guard the 3 at all if you're on call like that.
You can't. You might as well just let the shooter just shoot. You might as well let the shooter shoot because it doesn't go into your favor because I would rather give it 3 points than 4 points.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Now if you're calling it super tight like that, now it's an easy 3 for everybody because you can't defend it.
Right. And see that's the thing. Like game 1, Boston Heat. Crowder did something like that against Grant Williams at the top of the key. He went up. Grant was so far away from him. Crowder still curled his leg around to create that contact and got the call.
Exactly.
Like I don't see that's the thing because aside from how Kimba played in the first 3 quarters, aside from them not getting Jaylen Brown the ball in the 4th quarter, aside from all that, we still were in a position to win that game, right?
Yeah.
But something like that changes the trajectory.
The whole game.
It makes no sense.
Depending on how the pacing of the game is going.
Yeah.
And then you call that questionable foul. You take so long to review it.
Yeah.
Give the team free throws plus the ball back, and
it makes no sense.
And now that's a whole 5-minute break in action.
Right.
And now one team is completely out the game.
Right. And especially when you're playing with high fouls. Like if you're in foul trouble and it's because of calls like that, like Daniel Tice, for example. There were like 2 fouls that were that man, I don't think he'll ever be able to play a game without getting 4 or 5 fouls. I don't know if that's ever possible.
If Tice makes it to the 4th quarter with like 2 fouls, they're calling 3 on him in the quarter. Easy.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's a miracle if he could even get out the first half without 3. I'm really, I hate that stuff happens to him, But that's something that happened with game 1 against Miami. He got, there were like 2 fouls I think that were called on him that weren't even fouls.
They were back to back at that.
Back to back, and it made no sense as to why they would call those fouls. But then they got him into foul trouble and then he fouled out, and you see what happened, right? Like things like that. Like I know our guys didn't play. Jalen and Kimba did not play up to their ability. Yeah. I know that. But aside from that, we still should have won that game. The problem is these refs are making these egregious calls that make no sense. Like they literally make no sense. And I like if you can explain to me why this is a foul, okay. But it should be across the board. That it shouldn't be for one game or for one play, one series.
It shouldn't be up to interpretation of the refs. You have to make the rule and stand on it.
Yeah. I want strict guidelines for fouls at this point because I can't tell what's what anymore. I really can't.
So this is becoming a legit and every fan base is starting to say this. Remember, even Iggy tweeted a meme of Daffy Duck holding a bunch of money after our game 6 versus the Raptors.
Exactly. Because it doesn't make any sense. They're making these calls to push these series to be extra long, and I would much rather, because you're cheapening the product, you're cheapening the game.
Definitely.
I don't even want to watch games like that. I don't and it hurts me to even say that because I love basketball, but if this is how they're going to be called, I don't want to see it anymore.
Games are unwatchable like that.
They're not. And you're talking about you want the pace of the game to continue. You don't want all these reviews. Stop calling these stupid calls.
The reviews have to stop too.
The reviews have to stop, man. Because now we're sitting here. I'm able to go make some hot tea or something like that without missing anything. I'm sitting here just doing whatever because they're taking forever on being on deciding what the call is. So exactly. That's one thing I don't like that. I also want to see. I really wish that there was some type of advantage to these home games in the bubble. Like the home team should have like 2 challenges or something. There should be some type of advantage for the home team in this bubble. And I think that when we start the next season, I think
if we're in the bubble next season,
we're going to be in the bubble. We're going to be. There's no way we're going to be able to avoid that. I think, like we talked about before, I think they're going to end up having to do like 2 or 4 bubbles and just do it like that.
Like regional bubbles and stuff.
Yeah. I think they're going to have to end up doing something like that because this bubble was with 20 teams?
Yeah, 22.
22? You have to bring everybody. You're not bringing the entire league into one bubble. It's not going to work. So you have to create
you need at least 2.
Yeah, 2 or 4. And if they do that, make it to where there's a home court advantage because the piping in the noise that's not going to do anything. The video, virtual fans, that's not doing.
You can't even hear the virtual fans.
They put them on mute. You can't hear them at all, man. So I would like if there's something they can do to kind of like create some type of home court advantage. Cool, I would like to see that. But one thing about this bubble though, I'm kind of questioning what was the purpose of these teams bringing their home courts to Orlando. They're not utilizing these home courts in the playoffs. What's the purpose of using them?
Yeah,
them there?
I haven't even noticed, honestly.
Because it was like seeding games or like practice exhibition games or something like that where they used them, and then from there on, it was the same NBA court. And so that's one thing I would like to know as well. But man, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. We'll be good.
We're gonna get tough, so. But now finally, Now we can talk about the Clippers.
I'm dying for it.
Doc has to go, man.
Doc has to go.
I never want to root for the black man to get fired or lose his job. But Doc, you gotta go, bro.
It's time. He's been there for what, 7, 9 years, something like that?
7 years.
And what's the common denominator for all these stacked teams that he's had?
It's him.
It's him.
I didn't know. Him. Somebody brought up early. Doc blew a 3-1 lead in Orlando in like 2003 when he had on team. I never knew that.
Oh yeah.
He blew a 3-1 lead up 20 with Chris Paul and couple years back.
Yeah.
They're up 19 in the closeout game 6.
Yeah.
A few days ago. Lose that game.
Yeah.
Go there up 9 yesterday. Lose that game.
It's sad, man. I love Doc because, that's our coach. That's our coach. I don't get. There's people that are going to watch this and they probably don't understand. Bro, Doc Rivers is my coach, man. Like, we had him for the longest time. I love that guy.
And Doc won the only, he was probably the only black coach who gets that long of a leash anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know another black guy that gets that this amount of time.
First coaching job, he got hired in '99 Orlando. Doc has never had a season unemployed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Never. As soon as he left Orlando, he came to Boston.
Yeah.
4 losing seasons straight, didn't win a title.
Yeah.
Rolled it out. Been in LA since then. So that's 20 years coaching. Never had a season off.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm comfortable saying fire him, because he's gonna get out the job right after. So
where would he go? Because I think he would get another job, but what team? I don't see Houston being a great option. I would hate to see him in Philly just because Philly is just trash.
Maybe Indiana. They have a position.
That would be interesting, especially if you keep Oladipo. You're not trying to trade him or whatever. That would be interesting. That'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting.
Look.
But outside of that, though, the players, the roster they constructed just wasn't it either. Outside of Kawhi.
What was wrong with it? Because from the beginning of the season, when we saw that this was their team, they looked not only dangerous, but they were extremely deep. Extremely deep.
Yeah.
I didn't figure they were not going to have enough time to play together, though.
It's like they were deep with talent, but I don't think they had talent in the right places. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They have a few guys who can defend. Kawhi, All-NBA defense again. Mm-hmm. Paul George was top 3 in defensive player of the year. Mm-hmm. Patrick Beverly made all defense. Mook is average. Zoo was decent. But outside of that, then you have a lot of the guys logging heavy minutes aren't good defenders. Lou Will isn't. Trez isn't. You trade a defensive guy for Harkless in Mook, and at times Mook defense is up and down a lot.
It fluctuates.
You sign Reggie Jackson, who has no rep as a good defender at that. And these aren't only the guys you're playing, but these are guys you're giving the heavy minutes to.
Yeah.
And then you don't have any size at the center position. So when you go up against Jokic,
because you could push Zubac out the way.
When he caught fire, it was a wrap.
Yeah, you can push Zubac out the way, man. He's not.
You put Zoo out the way. Trez can't guard him.
Yeah.
Mook can't. That's it.
Yeah. He ate against the Clippers.
He had 16, 20, and 11 last night.
Bro, he was just showing off last night. That behind the head back pass he threw to Murray, that when he was cutting. I mean, he didn't make the basket because Patrick Beverly was under there messing with him, but
but he's an incredibly skilled dude though.
I'm impressed. I didn't know how he was going to do, because when Bubbles first started, he had just lost all that weight.
Yeah.
And that was my thing. I was like, I didn't know how he was gonna do with all this. Not to say that he could not be dominant.
20 miles on, you took him off.
Not to say I didn't think he could be dominant, but I didn't know how he was gonna fare because I figured he was gonna put a little more weight on while he was in Orlando. But he's been looking amazing. I'm highly impressed with him. This Denver team is phenomenal. The Clippers have to figure out what's what. They may have just played their way out of LA. Because I don't know how you stay in LA another year or two after playing like that.
I think they're building a new arena like San Diego or something anyway. So they probably out like 3-4 years
time. They need to go. They need to go rent a place until that's done because they can't stay in LA. They can't stay in LA.
They came into the season like they already had it wrapped up anyway. So I think that was another problem with them.
Yeah. And now Paul George wants to say, we didn't have that pressure. It wasn't title or bust for us. No, it most definitely was. It was. Because if they had won the championship this year, if they had won a championship this year, they would have gone and said, yeah, this was a title or bust year, man. You can't fluctuate. I know we're gonna put this. It will most likely be only blamed on Doc Rivers in terms of who's going to leave. I'm pretty sure he will be the scapegoat in that regard. He didn't do any adjustments to combat Denver, so it's justified. But Paul George has to take this, man. He really has to take this. I know Kawhi didn't shoot that well in a couple of games. So, of course, he's to blame as well. But Paul George should take more blame than Kawhi should. Because if your number one guy is struggling, you should be able to go get the buckets.
Especially after they traded their whole future to get him in there just so they could get Kawhi too.
Bro, if they traded Gilgeous-Alexander for them to not get a championship, I'm done. I'm done.
The Warriors are back in that season too, so
yeah. Oh, Warriors are back. This was this was their year to get it done. They didn't get it done. Golden State's coming back next year, like you said. That's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem, especially with a shorter season next year. It's gonna be an issue.
The other LA team and the Lakers rolling too.
Lakers are rolling. Denver is rolling.
It's gonna be a good matchup.
Man, if Utah can find out who they need to put there along Donovan Mitchell, the Clippers might find themselves dropping in the standings, man. Hey, man, look, Lemon Pepper Lou can come on to Boston and play off our bench. I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine with it if he came to Boston, give a little offense off the bench. I'd be fine with it.
Couple buckets here and there.
Yeah, as long as he brings us some chicken. Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I think between the Clippers and Houston, both of these teams need to go ahead and find out what because Harden was saying we're a piece away. And I think I've been hearing that from him for like the last couple of years.
He's had Dwight, CP, Russ,
man. I don't know what and see, just like we're looking at the common denominator with the Clippers, I have to look at the common denominator with Houston. The common denominator with Houston is Harden.
James Harden.
I know there might be people that don't want to hear that. Parker Gailey, with us on OTS, he might when he watches this, he might be a little upset with me saying that. But Harden needs to be looked at too. He needs to be looked at because I don't know if you try to trade him to get some pieces. They need to do something because both these teams are in trouble, man. Both these teams are in trouble next year.
Clippers, Rockets, and the Bucks are on the clock.
Yeah. I don't know what these guys are gonna do. But the end is near. The end is near for a lot of these guys, and I don't know what they're expecting to be done. Paul George, I'm again, when you've gone through all those series in Indiana against Miami, you've been this close to beating the Heat. Now you're moving to LA with Kawhi Leonard by your side and you can't get it done? Bro, I'm sorry. I know there's going to be a lot of blame put on these other guys, but he's the one I'm really looking at because that makes no sense. That makes no sense, man.
Definitely. Got to step it up.
You got to step up. And it's time. We're no longer talking about a guy that's 22, 23 years old. You know what you need to do. Go do it.
Push your 30.
Yeah, you push your 30. Yeah. I know he's not. I know a lot of people say that since he broke his leg that he's taking a step back. I don't think
that
he
was
took a
like
step
6
back.
years ago.
That was a while ago.
He had his best season last year.
Yeah. I'm not leaning on that. That's not an excuse. He got back into form and he was killing it. So it can't be that he was killing it and then all of a sudden now we're using the leg as the excuse. Nah, man. Nah. Because Gordon Hayward, just 2 years off his injury, he's been killing it. He's been killing it. So I can't.
He's gonna win the series in our favor when he gets back.
Oh. I think we're gonna go 7. I think we're going 6-7 against Miami. But
hopefully we go 6.
6 was my prediction, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah.
I think it could go 7 though. And Hayward comes back game 3, game 4. Done deal, man. All they have to do is play to the exact same pressure that they had at the beginning of game 1.
And just stay consistent.
Stay consistent.
Keep the ball moving. Keep the defense.
Stop overthinking. Kemba
just be decisive all game.
Yeah. Even if they just decide to play through Tatum, Brown, and Smart and use Kemba as a decoy, fine. I'm fine with it.
Just keep it flowing.
Do it. But let's go. And then you bring Hayward in.
Let's go.
We win that series, man. We're in the finals. I'm not looking past Miami though. But I know what I saw first quarter of that game.
And third quarter.
I'm not. And we went into the fourth quarter up like 14, right?
Up like 13, 14.
So I know what these guys can do. I know it's there. It's just that Brad has to do a little better with implementing a better game plan to close that fourth quarter out. Once that happens, and these guys aren't shying away from the ball, and you move the ball, like you actually move the ball. They just need little adjustments. That's all. There's nothing that needs to be done. Just make those small adjustments. We'll be fine. And Wanamaker, I want to give him a shout out.
He's been great too.
Dude,
shout out, Brad.
Killing it. So yeah, man, we're fine. It's just we just gotta make those minor adjustments. They held Jimmy Butler to like 2 or 4 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, he had some big plays late, so I can't be mad at that.
Yeah,
that 3 and the 1, those were just like super hard shots. So
those are super hard shots. Some of those shots you just can't guard. It is what it is. You just live with it. But for the overall game plan, all they just gotta do is just adjust the small things and just stop overthinking. They're fine. I'm not worried about Boston whatsoever. I've had people already laugh at me the last two days. I'm fine with it. I'll die with this belief. I'm fine with that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. but I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong, man. I know this team is built for this. They're built for it. If they could push LeBron to Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago, 2 minutes away from actually being in the finals,
they can do this one.
This is easy. This is not that. This is not that team.
No,
I'm good. I don't care.
Well, I think that's everything for today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate you kicking over, brother.
Oh yeah, appreciate you for having me on, man.
No doubt. We're gonna get back at it after this round.
Oh yeah, for sure. Once we get in the finals, oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
All right, appreciate you, dog.
All right, bro.